see. Yeah, not a whole lot of new ones. Odd New Zealand. Yeah, so there is a scan up on this point too. I personally just am not a big fan of Odd New Zealand. I know they sent this pair out. This is just a really, really slow moving pair. And the other thing too, when you're trading, you really need to know, what works for you. And when I say that, right, like when I tell people who are just starting, like what you should be doing, and I know most people don't do it, right? When you're in demo and you're learning a new strategy, what a lot of people try to do is they try to like get really good results when they're demo testing, right? And when they get good results, it's validation to go to a live account, right? And then that's when they feel like they're getting the confidence and that they're learning what they're learning stuff, and they're right now they're applying it and they're seeing consistent results. But when you go into a demo account, right, after learning the strategy, all you're really trying to do is you're just trying to collect information. You're trying to, when a few of us are doing a test on harmonic scans, and all we're doing is just collecting information. We don't care if we win. We don't care if we lose. We're just collecting information. And Bogdan, what was it, like 78% of the winners have been with the higher time frame trend or whatever it might be. We're just trying to find information, right? So you can find out what works for you, right? I mean, there's people I work with that can, see certain things a lot better than other people, in terms of some people can see the signature setup really well and other people can't, right? Some people like me can see buy setups easier than sell setups, right? I mean, it's really just finding what works for you, and always knowing where you are in the market and finding that, just hunting for what you like, what you can trade effectively, what you can spot and execute on. I'm really good at finding signature setups and logical areas that are with the higher time frame trend, and I look for that flag pattern inside it. And I talk about that pattern all the time. Those are things that I look for all the time. Right? When I see those are the trades I smash. Right? So always knowing what you're looking for versus just taking everything, right? And then having that align with when you get scans or you get signals, right? I mean, and I get it. When in the beginning, you're taking the signals almost like as a service, like the scanner, right? But when you're furthering your education, you really want things to start aligning. For me, right, I don't sell this because I know higher time frame, I'm looking for something like this, right? I don't sell pullbacks, right? This is, if anything, it's going to do something like this. That's just me, but it doesn't mean the sell is not going to be valid. You know what I mean? But it's just all knowing of like what you are good at seeing, right? I mean, like this is a really strong impulsive move from a reversal pattern in a logical area, right? To me, selling here doesn't make sense, but it doesn't mean but for the person who sent that trade signal out, he's a professional trader. For him, it made sense according to what he can spot easily, what he trades effectively, according to his lifestyle, according to his schedule, according to his personality, right? So everything can look different to different people, right? I mean, people were talking about the UJ trade the other day, and somebody was talking about an entry that they spot, and somebody's like, oh, I thought the entry was further down that they posted, right? If you have 10 professional traders look at it, even this pair right here, you're going to get 10 different ideas and you're going to get 10 different entries, right? So, I mean, it's just having these things all align with what you like, right? So, I mean, for me personally, I'm looking for a buy here. I would rather be patient and wait for the setup for the buy than sell, because I know that sell is going to be short-lived and it's going against the grain, right? So, I mean, to me, I know that this is a reversal pattern, and I know it's getting a reaction in this spot here. Look at this area here, right? This big, massive flag pattern here, impulsive move, flag pattern, came down into the banker's candle, right? That's something that I look for all the time. When I see this, I do backflips and I smash them, If it happens to play out, it happens to play out. And then we can see the manipulation here. Slam down, slam up. So it's no coincidence they brought price back into this area, right? And then it started forming that negative flag pattern. Right? Negative flag pattern is just an impulsive move, and then a pattern like this. Positive flag the other way, right? So this is a reversal pattern right here, right? And we can see price came right down into this banker's candle here, right? That's where we got the reaction. I'll make this a different color. And then it started pushing up, right? So for me selling here, I mean, I know we're in a banker's candle, but if anything, you know, remember, like when we get these impulsive moves, you're going to get a rejection and then a bearish flag, or you're going to get an impulse and then a bullish flag, right? So just wait, you know, but that's the whole thing I'm trying to say, right? Like that's things that I spot and I look for. That can look different to everybody. For a lot of people, this might be a really good setup, right? And we can see here what happened. A flag was formed. Now it's pushing up. But that doesn't mean this trade setup's not a good trade setup. If anybody's in this, I'm not saying to close this or anything like that. I'm just saying, you know, this is why people were thought I was talking negatively about certain trade calls. I'm just saying that I know what I look for. That's going to look different to everybody. So that brings me back to the whole purpose of you need to just demo test. And when you go into demo, you're just collecting information. Like you're going to be taking different trades. You're going to be taking trades that might be like this. You might be taking, you know, some that are signature setups. You might be taking all these different things. And then you just take snapshots, right? You go back and you take snapshots of the before and afters. And then you go back and you look, because you're going to get a lot of valuable information from your wins and your losses. And then you go back and you're going to see, wow, look at all these winners. And they all have this pattern. That's what I'm going to look for. Look at all these losers. And they all had like this pattern. And they all were, you know, against the trend or whatever it might be. I'm going to stay away from that. Right? But you need to find out what that is. And then that's when you go into a second stage of that demo testing what you found from the first stage. And then once you get consistent results with that, that's when you go live, right? Don't force it, because if you force it because you need to make money or you're trying to see results quickly to see if this works, I promise you it works, right? Just be patient, right? Don't force it, because if you force it, trying to, you know, take these shortcuts, you're going to circle all the way back. I've circled back like 5 times. And it gets really annoying and really frustrating, right? I always had to touch that stove 10 times, you know, just to know it's hot, right? You know, don't keep touching that stove. Just do it. The slow way is the fast way. You're going to hear all the time in Forex. The slow way is the fast way, and less is more, big time. Yeah, so Great Britain CAD, that's the one I'm really looking at. That's probably going to be the one that I plan on taking. If anybody has any setups that they want me to look at now, or, you know, there's not a whole lot on the scanner, there's not a whole lot on my radar. The CAD JPY is just something that I'm observing right now. And we can see that it just pierced up there. So I'm just keeping an eye on this. Right, and this is how we find those signature setups. This is the makings of it right here. Right, equal highs, equal lows, and then we basically just look for the highs to be taken, which it is now, the lows to be taken, and then we look for the entry right here. All right, so this could be a nice little trade right here. So I got my eyes on this one.
It's a nice little candle too.
But this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't even tell you like how many times I've like missed trades because like I was not sure if it was, you know, like Euro JPY. Like I was even kind of struggling with this the other day just because of when I was looking at down here, right? When you go on like a 4-hour time frame and you look at this, right? That can kind of look like equal O's, right? And you're kind of waiting for the equal O's to be taken. And then, looking at it closely, I dropped down to a 1-hour time frame. And you can see that these two lows right here were taken out by this. This was the FU candle right here. And then sure enough, price came right into it and then took off. So I was kind of frustrated with that because this is one that I was like talking about on Friday. And this was another one too. I mean, you would have been able to get, if you used the body or that, right there. I mean, you're talking 10 to 1, 9 to 1 on your money. I mean, that's a shorter target. We were looking up further, but Jay, you looking at anything right now?
Let me look at my charts and see.
I don't think there's too many scans. I know there's like an odd JPY scan, but it's very similar to the CAD JPY. I haven't even really looked at it. I'm just not a big JPY fan. Yeah, and I mean, this one here, I really wouldn't feel comfortable touching this one because of this one right here, this gap.
Can you look at the odd CAD? There's like a 15-minute, a 1-hour, 4-hour banker candle all stacked up there. Like if you go to like the 1-hour chart, you can start. You'll see it probably.
This was a nice buy. This was that buy, I think, from Friday.
Yeah.
This is another good example really quickly before I look at that. They sent out a buy in this spot here. I think some people got stopped out of it. This was our FU candle here. Right? These equal lows right here, FU candle. Right? So price can really turn around anywhere in this spot. I think they had, I'm not sure where they had their stop loss, but I know some people got stopped out of this. I think they were using like the 4-hour and they were using the body. So they had your stop loss right here, most likely. Right, for me, yeah, and you would have got stopped out. So me personally, situations like this, depending on the banker's candle, I mean, I know a lot of people say use the body. Situations like this, where we talked about on Friday, right? You can literally just wait for price to turn, right? I think it was forming a flag on Friday. Let me see. I'm not exactly sure where the price action was, but I think it was this one right here. I'll clear this up. Right, so again, here's that negative flag. And then what? Impulsive move. Broke this area here. And then it formed another flag. Right, this flag pattern here. Impulsive move, flag pattern. Right. You would have been able to even take this entry here. Last down candle. Right, you can wait for it to turn around. And like if you look at this, right, when price is just, coming down slowly into this, and this is really good too to start, replay mode like this and then just run it. Right, so you really want to see when price is, in a pattern like this, it can easily just come up into this banker's candle right here and then just keep doing what it's doing and just keep going and going. So you want it to break this area. You want it to break this zone, this last banker's candle. Press play. There's the break right there, right? So now we know it's not respecting these last down candles anymore. Same this one right here. It disrespected both these. So now structure is broken, right? Then it's forming this flag, right? You could have got an entry right here on that banker's candle. You have this banker's candle right here that we just marked up right there, right? And then it's off, right? Instead of trying to guess where it turns around, you could have had, you know, this, and you could have even had with odd cat. I mean, you could have had that for a stop loss and still had a 20 pip stop loss. Equal highs, imbalance, lots of reasons to come up here, right? And that way you wouldn't have got stopped out of this trade. Would have been a nice solid trade. Are you looking at a buy or sell right now, Jay?
I was just looking at sell. If you look at like the 1 hour time frame, there's a banker's candle right up to the left of the current price right there.
This one right here.
Yep. And if you go to like the 4 hour, 15 minute, they're all like in the same area.
Right.
And the 71 to 78 is just above those candles.
Let me see. I kind of like to see this go up more, but I think it could do something like this. Come to that area and then go something like that. But that could be like a really good risk to reward though.
I just had it down to like 8907.
Let me see.
Whatever that is on your shirt. Yeah, it's not very far down.
Yeah, I mean, 10 pip stop loss. I mean, this is like that, you know, what we've been talking about all day, right? I mean, even this level down here, you know, that banker's candle, you're talking about 5 to 1 on a 57 pip move. Right? I mean, to me, like those are worth swinging at. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take a, you know, anywhere between, you know, 10, 15 pip stop loss. Something like this, give me, you know, 5 to 1. I'll swing at those all day.
And then I could still go up and take those highs. Like,
yeah, I mean,
on the daily, there's some equal highs, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, like odd CAD, like, and this is just that thing, like, you know, knowing where you are in the market, just, I'm bullish in odd CAD, right? I mean, especially coming down and getting that reaction again from this banker's candle here. I'd like to see this thing go up. I think it will go up, but I think this is just, I mean, this has manipulation all over it right here. I mean, you can see clear these highs right here and then slam down. So they could be just bringing price back up to mitigate from this area here where it's in. And then this could be that pullback before, you know, like we were saying on the higher time frame, this could be something like this.
Right.
Right. I mean, that spot down there, I mean, talking 6 to 1 or so. Yeah. So, I mean, that could be something right there as well. For sure. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you start getting these trades with 10, 11, 12 pip stop losses, I mean, you can start swinging at them. I mean, you hit one of them and, you know, you're talking significant gain there that can wipe out a lot of trades. But yeah, I mean, I like it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, could be a good trade. Could be a good trade. And I mean, it kind of runs along the side of odd New Zealand where we could just get that pullback before a further upside. I mean, we could definitely, and then odd USD, same thing. I mean, a lot of these odd and New Zealand pairs, I'm bullish on them, but I think they can come down more. Like, I mean, odd New Zealand. I mean, this thing looks like it could come down more before it goes up. I mean, that's what this was, a big correction.
Looks like some pretty good equal lows right there right now, actually.
Yeah. 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 This was just a bigger version of like this. It was just a correction, and we just didn't really get that take off. So it just wasn't ready. But yeah, I mean, there was a couple setups in the beginning of the week that started looking really nice. I mean, this was one of them, and I really wanted to see the signature setup happen, and it didn't. I mean, we had the making of it. You know, I had entries on this, right? We had highs, equal lows. This was the low. Took out the highs, and it just really never came back, and then it just took off. New Zealand USD was the same thing. I missed that. So I'm personally getting up early for London. I don't know if anybody's, I know Janik is, we're both getting up early. If anybody wants to join us, we're going to be hunting on the hunt pretty early for London. Again, I got a couple of the GBP pairs on my radar. You know, situations too, like, you know, in the spot where I'm -3% on the week right now. So I'm not really trying to get involved in a pair with like odd New Zealand. You know what I mean? Or odd CAD. Like, that's just me. Like, those are really slow moving pairs, and they also don't pay out the full amount, right? I mean, most pairs, depending, GBP pairs, for example, or Euro Great Britain, pays more than $10 per standard. Odd CAD, odd New Zealand, it pays less. I mean, I think it's like $8.50. So, I mean, I like pairs that are more volatile, that have better chance of moving. Odd New Zealand kind of aligns with what you were just talking about too. Look, kind of like a double top right in that area. Playing off that 4 hour right now. It could be like the 50%, but this thing could come down from that spot. So yeah, I mean, my focus is Great Britain CAD for sure. And then here's kind of another example. I mean, like, you can be smashing like little moves like this. I had this marked up and I just really wasn't looking at it. Where was it? And we had this spot up here. I think that was like the 50. Just took out that low. And this one started to look good. I mean, look, you had it here. Equal highs, equal lows, lows taken out, highs taken out, came right into it. Here's the FU candle. Came right into it, started to go up, and then it just came into this spot. And this is a failed signature. I mean, I guess it's really not failed. I mean, GBP, this probably went up. Yeah, this went up 100 pips. So, but yeah, so I don't know if anybody else is looking at anything or wants me to look at anything. I'm mainly looking at GCAD for the time being. If not, we'll just call it a night. And then, again, I'm getting up early for London. So if anybody else wants to join us, see what we got going on.
Can you show your GCAD chart again? I think I got on here late if you showed it at the beginning.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this entry here. And then, we're obviously not going to get 300 or so pips, but I'm definitely looking for a decent drop. So it's a good stop loss on it too.
Look how that negative 27 lines up with that consolidation off to the left there. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably something like that, just under 5-1. So I'd like this to take me home for the week. I'd be happy. But, again, one thing that's important, a lot of people have a really hard time with this, right? If I don't see something this week and I'm minus 3%, I just don't care. Like, I just won't force a trade. I was saying that to Janet today, and he messaged me and he asked me if I took a trade I was looking at. I was like, no, I'm really selective now. If I lost my first 2 trades, I'm just really selective, and I won't force it. And I go into the second week, if it's a similar situation, I just don't force it. I know one trade can make my entire month, right? So I'm really selective. So this one I like. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to force myself into a trade, try to make back that 3%. And I think that's what a lot of people dig themselves into a bigger hole because they do that, right? I mean, they're down and they don't want to, nobody wants to end the week down. Stop focusing on weeks and focus on months or quarterly, right? It's rare that I end quarterlies down. It's really rare. Do I have losing weeks? Absolutely. Do I have losing months? Yes, it's rare, but I do, right? I focus more on bigger pictures. When you focus on bigger pictures, it's less pressure on yourself. You're not forcing yourself into bad situations. You'll find less revenge trading. You'll find less over trading, and you'll find less forcing of trades. So that's just something that I've learned from my experience and getting myself in bad situations. It's all because I was focused on that short-term goal of ending that week negative. Who wants to end a week negative? Right? I'd rather end a week negative than, a month negative.
I think that's a problem for people that, are trying to set dollar goals for the week and stuff too, because then you end up taking shitty trades to try to make that goal when, it's just
same thing with pip goals too.
Yeah, it's just a bad mindset to have.
Yeah, I mean, I never look at pip goals. When you're looking at goals, always have it like people ask like, how do you find like some realistic expectations? That also comes from demoing and hooking up an FX book. If you hook up an FX book to your account, it's going to keep track of all the stats in your account. And when you're demoing, you're going to get a rough idea of what you're generating on a monthly basis. And then let's just say on average, you're generating about, 15% or 10%. Then you can break that down quarterly, right? Weekly, because let's just say 10%, right? I mean, what you're 2.5 a week. That's what you're averaging. So, I mean, I'd never do it based on pips. The only time I'm worried about pips is when I'm determining my stop loss, my TP for my risk to reward. That's it. Everything else is percentage based. But, again, it's usually the people who haven't developed that trader's mindset that find themselves on lower time frames, in and out of trades, less patient, focused on dollar goals or weekly goals or pip goals versus like bigger picture. I'm telling you, if you start focusing on like bigger picture and like weekly targets, monthly targets, or even bigger like quarterly targets, like that, my investor accounts, it's all quarterly. Like that's like I have quarterly targets I have to hit, right? So like if I have a bad month, it's like I'm not like stressing out, right? Or it's all bigger picture. Because I also know, like from my past experience, like when I get into a swing trade and I hit it hard and I start stacking them, I can take like a 400, 500 pip move and like make it well over that. I can double it with like my stacking, right? So like I'm just really patient because once I do get in a trade that I can really hit, it just you'll see your account just double. Like I flipped like 20 or 30, 40K accounts in single trades or 1 or 2 trades just from stacking them, right? And it's powerful stuff. So I mean, just be super selective, right? And take quality over quantity, and just don't force yourself into a hole. Simple as that. We're coming up to the timeline or time limit on this. Let's see, somebody said something. Yeah, so we're coming up to the end of this one. We're gonna get this Zoom thing situated. Again, yeah, so I'm getting up on Thursday, tomorrow morning early for London, see what we got.
What's early for London?
I mean, I'm getting up at like 4 a.m. I mean, I get up at like around that time anyway. Yeah, so
that's only 1 my time. No problem. Who needs to sleep?
Go to bed now.
My wife will be surprised when she comes. My wife will come home from work and I'll be asleep.
That's why I can't wait till I get out to London, because it's going to be like perfect trading. We're going to be like entering. How many? What is it? 5 hours behind?
London? Yeah, it's 5 hours. Yeah, 5 hours ahead. For me, it's 8 hours ahead.
Cool.
You're looking at GBP CAD?
Yeah, GBP CAD. Yep.
Do you know anything about the new link on the webpage with the Polish team? I know it says test, but is that something coming up?
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, that's just they're going to have their own pages with stuff in Polish for their team.
Oh, in Polish? Okay.
Yeah, they got a lot of people that don't speak English.
So we just made a page for them to start working on.
Cool.
They wanted it on navigation so they could get to it easy, but there's nothing on there, so it's in development.
Cool, thanks.
All right, well, I got a bowl of ice cream that's calling my name, so.
All right, have a good evening, guys.
Hey, good stuff. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.